Hi guys, welcome to Draw with Sandee at the Little Artistic Nook. Today we'll be drawing this cute little deer. Come to the center of your page and begin by drawing out a small, slightly angled heart for your deer's nose. You can fill this in with your pencil if you like, or do this later. Then extend a small line down from the bottom of your nose and you can create any mouth you like. This time I'm doing a little half smile. For the eyes, I'm going to do two ovals, one on each side of the nose, and I'm going to draw them so that the bottom of the eye is in line with the bottom of the nose. Then come back to the top of your eye and begin to trace your pencil or pen over the top of the eye and extend a small line outwards to create an eyelash or an eyelid. I do two lines for eyelashes, one line for an eyelid. I want my deer to be looking to the right of the page, so I'm going to draw a highlight on the right side of her eye and just beside it a small heart. Do this on both eyes and then you can color them in. Remember too that you can fill in your eyes at the end of your drawing and you can use any color you like. Anything will be super cute. Now I'm going to draw in some cheeks by coming to the outside edge of her eye and sweeping a curve all the way underneath, closing on the other side of her eye. Do the same thing under both eyes. And then let's add in some cute little eyebrows for expression. To mark out my deer's head, I'm going to first place a small dot just underneath her mouth, and then a second dot above the eyebrows. Now, draw a curved line that connects the top dot to the bottom, closing off her head. I love how it looks like her face is just all squished down at the bottom of her head. It makes her look so adorable. You can draw in some fur markings by just creating some little circles or wobbly shapes near the top of her head and coming just a little bit down towards her nose. I want my ears to be slightly in line with the eyebrows, so to start I'm going to find the inside edge of her right eyebrow and I'm going to start by drawing out a curved line from that same position at the top of her head, moving towards the top of my page. I'm going to draw a second line that matches that first one and connects at the top to form a little point. Then to create the underside of her ear, I'm going to draw a third line that curves facing those first two. Coming to the other side of her head, I'm going to do the same thing, starting with a line that is starting at the same spot as the inside of her eyebrow and curving that line towards the outside edge of my page, drawing a second line that meets the first at a point, and then drawing a third line that curves back towards them and connects at the head. Let's start planning out the body by first making one small mark underneath the head that's underneath her left cheek, another one under her mouth, and another underneath her right cheek. Now come back to the very first mark you made and we're going to draw the front of her body by drawing a line that's moving towards the bottom of the page and then curving to the right. From the middle marker, I'm going to draw a line that's moving towards the bottom of my page but creating some little waves so that it looks like fur. And from my third line, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and I'm going to angle it slightly at the bottom towards the right side of my page. So from left to right, each line is a little bit shorter than the one before it. Now we're going to draw out the deer's first front leg by coming to that middle line. Bring your pen so that it's just past that middle line, and you're going to start to draw out a slight C shape. So it's very shallow, but it is following that same C curve. And at the bottom of this curve, you're going to start to straighten your line to move towards the bottom of the page. Come back to the top of her leg and place your pen just a little bit lower and draw a backward C curve, and then extend a straight line to the bottom of the page, closing it off with a little horizontal line. Now you want to connect the front of her body to the front of this leg. You can draw in her other front leg by just coming underneath that body and drawing down a straight line so that it falls to about the same place as your first leg. Draw a second line and then close it off for the bottom of her foot. To draw out her back body, I'm going to come back to that third line, and I'm going to continue by drawing a shallow curve towards the right side of my page, and then I'm slowly going to start to bring the line upwards and curve it back down towards the bottom of my page. I don't want to make this curve too big because I'm going to start straightening the line to make her first back leg. You want the back leg to be about in line with the front two legs. And then to make the front, just come towards the inside of your deer's body and once again draw a little C curve and then straighten a line down towards the bottom. We now need to create her belly and close off that gap between front leg and back leg. So find your middle line, that curvy wavy line of fur, and you're going to imagine that it curves underneath. So passing through the front leg, you'll connect your marker, your pencil, and draw a curve that goes all the way to the back leg. And then finding the line at the bottom of her chest, you will once again curve a line that's in between her front leg and her back leg to close it off. To draw her last leg, I'm just going to create a line that matches her other back leg and close it off at the bottom with a little horizontal line. If you come back to that third little line you drew from underneath her head and see that it's connecting seamlessly to the back of her body, you can extend a small mark just from the bottom of that so that her side view doesn't look like one solid piece. Then go ahead and draw in some fur markings by creating little dots or little wiggly patterns near the top of her body. For my deer's tail, I'm going to come back to the top of her body and I'm just going to trace over the top, and just as I come below the highest point, I'm going to extend a small line towards the right side of the page. Then create a triangular shape with a slightly wavy line coming back to the body and a small little line just underneath that for the underside of her tail. For her feet, I'm just going to draw a small rectangle at the bottom of her legs. If your legs look really short, then you can draw a rectangle coming off of the bottom of her legs. And if they're long like mine, then you can draw that rectangle right inside and coloring all the way to the bottom. Now it's time to do our setting. So to begin, I'm going to start drawing out a really loose line to create some grass. So starting on one side of her body, I'm just drawing a really disconnected little line that has some little bumps and peaks here and there to indicate little blades of grass. And I'm going to let this line go all the way underneath her body and out the other side. The first detail I want to add is a nice tulip. So come to the right side of your deer's body and draw a curved line. And then you can add in some leaves, and I always do little raindrop leaves. And yes, I always leave them separate from my stem. Then come to the top and draw a big U shape. From the top, draw one curve that comes back to the center and go to the other side and draw a line coming to center and close off your tulip with a little triangle at the back. And of course, nothing's more whimsical than little things floating in the air, so I'm going to draw in a little daisy, starting with a small circle, and then creating petals by drawing large loops that start at the circle and meet back. Most of my daisies have 5 or 6 petals, but you can have as many as you like. I'm going to be giving this deer some friends, so on the other side of her body I'm going to draw a second tulip, but this time I want the petals to be wide open. So start by drawing a curve that's curving away from the front of your deer's body. You can add in some leaves, and then coming to the top of your stem, start to draw one petal that moves away from the deer. And then draw a second petal that is facing your deer, so that when you look at your flower, it kind of looks like a letter B or a figure 8 laying down. On my deer's back, I'm going to draw out her first little feathered friend. So to create my bird, I'm going to start by drawing a C that comes all the way down to touch the deer's body. From the top of this, I'm going to create a small little curve coming down, and then I'm going to angle that away. You can add in a little wing by just creating a small V shape. Give your birdie some little feet if there's a space between her body and your deer's back. Add in a little face to make her extra cute. And then, if your bird is going to be singing, you're going to draw out 2 little triangles from the front of her body to create an open beak. If you don't want her to be singing, then you can just draw 1 triangle. To indicate that my bird is singing and not just talking, I'm going to draw out some little music notes up above. So if you don't know how to draw music notes, you can start by drawing a small circle, a long stem from one side so that it looks like a small letter D, and you can add a little hook. You can also do the same thing and connect them by drawing 2 little letter Ds and just a straight line across the top. And finally, I'm going to add one more feathered friend, this time on that open flower on the left. So start this time by drawing a backward C shape. This is the front of your bird's belly. And then from the top, just start to curve your line down and then sweep it out towards the back to create her back and tail. Add in a little wing by drawing a V, whatever kind of face or expression you'd like, little feet if there's space, and then you can decide if you want her to have an open mouth or a closed one by drawing either 1 or 2 triangles. Thanks so much for drawing with me today. If you liked this tutorial, then don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned to the end to see if your artwork's been featured. And until next time for another Draw with Sandee at the Little Artistic Nook, keep making art and keep smiling.